Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Roll out those barrels, but we're not having a barrel of fun. 8 miles of 696 East now closed for the next 2 years as MDOT rebuilds the road and fixes drainage structures. It's the last leg of the Restore the Ruther project, and it is now underway. We're talking about that stretch spanning from the Lodge Freeway all the way to I-75. The official detour is not the most efficient, going from the Lodge to the Davison to 75 and then back to 696. That's where Local 4's Shante Passmore is on that route this afternoon. Shante, how's it going?
Hey, Jason, we are just hopping on to 75 from taking Davison Highway. Look, from the moment we talked about this project weeks ago, everybody wanted to know the why, for how long, and the detour. And as you just mentioned, the detour is very long. In fact, a lot of drivers have told us repeatedly it takes them out of their way, about 25 miles out of their way of where they want to go traveling eastbound on 696. And, you know, it's lunchtime, right? So, of course, we're not expecting to see a heavy volume of traffic. And so we're hopping on right now. Traffic is free flowing. Mind you, the early morning commuters got to enjoy going eastbound. But the real litmus test, of course, is going to be during the afternoon rush. And listen, look, even if you think that, oh, you know, we don't take 696 traveling eastbound, this is not going to affect us. MDOT says there will be some ripple effects.
Even if you're not affected by the freeway closure, so you think, if you use one of the mile roads, you are now affected because there could be thousands of other drivers that are joining you and they might not be familiar, so they're riding their brake light a little bit, or they're taking the detour and they don't realize that the Davison comes off your left. And so people race over or move over, and so the potential for crashes is there. Everybody has to pay attention, plan for extra time because you're going to need it.
All right, again, so consider this really the calm before the storm. And look, MDOT says it's aware that a lot of people are probably not going to take the official detour. They're going to try to find their own alternate route. So mind you, the real test is going to be during the afternoon and evening rush. And that's when we're also, starting at 4 p.m., we'll be testing some of those detours for you. Sending it back to you, Jason.
All right, Shante, we'll find out just exactly how that does go later today because we're going to be driving those legs throughout the afternoon. And at 4:30, we're going to have a special edition of Local 4 News as we testing the detours out. Shante is doing it right now. We'll see exactly how they play out. And then tomorrow morning on the morning show, we're extending until 9 o'clock to see how that morning rush is going. And we're going to time things out just to see if there's a better way to get you where you need to go. Now to another big story today. A second suspect has been arraigned in the D. Warner murder investigation. Dale Warner's son, 28-year-old Jaron Warner, has been arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence and accessory after the fact. His bond was set at $125,000, and he will be back in court next Monday. Dee Warner went missing back in April of 2021, and her body was found 3 years later in a tank on her husband's property in Lenawee County. He's currently awaiting trial later this fall. New at noon, a jury now has been seated in the Swan Boat Club crash trial. Marcella Chittister is facing 8 charges. She's accused of crashing her car into that boat club last April and killing 2 children and injuring nearly a dozen others, including those kids' mother. Prosecutors say her blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit.
What I would be looking for, believe it or not, is someone that would know the science involved with the blood level, because I understand alcohol is going to be a factor in this particular case, and one side is going to argue it one way, another one is going to argue it another way. So I would want the technical people on my jury.
Stay with Local 4 on air and online. We're going to have the latest as this trial progresses. Today, another Metro Detroit community gets a chance to speak up on what it thinks about a new proposed Sheetz gas station. This one's at Pontiac Trail and Beck Road in Wixom. Local business owners and people living in that area planning on making their voices heard at a demonstration before the Planning Commission meeting at the Wixom City Council chambers later tonight. Several communities have already pushed back on the company, citing potential for crime, noise, and increased traffic surrounding the area. Some have voted it down, others have voted it through. Tonight's demonstration starts at 6, followed by that Planning Commission meeting at 7 p.m. If you live or plan to visit Dearborn, don't park on the neighborhood streets there. The city's parking ordinance takes effect today, and all cars need to be off the streets between now and 4 p.m. That restriction won't be in place for holidays, but if you do need a parking exemption, call the Dearborn City Hall or go to the city's website.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
All right, here's Ashley Barrissey here on a weather week getting underway where I was reading at a school in Dearborn today, and one of the kids taking questions says, what's the weather going to be like? And you would have been very proud. I basically gave him the next 5 days, and I said, if you want the 7-day, you'll have to watch the real meteorologist. I said, I'm just a good listener.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That was a lot to take in this morning because we have a little bit of everything in the forecast. At this lunch hour, I want to show you what we're picking up on Exact Track 4D, but before you say, oh, I need to get the shovel out, not all of this is making it to the surface, but we do have some snowflakes aloft. Now, you have to remember that when you get the warmer air at the surface, there will be some melting, evaporating, and that's really what we're taking a closer look at. So let's go ahead and zoom in to portions of Washtenaw, Livingston County, where it does appear like we have some snowflakes coming down. But a great way to check that is to look at our handy-dandy cameras. And so off in Ann Arbor, actually dry, just some cloud cover. But let's compare that to what it looks like in downtown Detroit with our Windsor Sky Cam, and we still are holding on to blue skies. And so it really makes a difference depending on where you're at as far as what the cloud cover is. We will have some increasing clouds today, but then we'll have a few breaks here and there. Looking at our temperatures, though, what we're picking up on radar when it comes to flurries, you can see that those temperatures are well above the freezing mark. So 36 in Ann Arbor, 38 at Metro Airport, 41 at City Airport, 39 in Lapeer. We're well on our way of getting into the low 40s this afternoon, which is exactly where we should be this point in March. But today starts a nice warming trend where we get into the 50s this week. Temperatures then take a tumble. We're tracking rain, wind, and even a little bit of snow. So you want to stick around for the timeline of what we'll call some weather whiplash.
All right, Ash. The morning team taking a field trip out to Dearborn later this week. This is our second meet and greet happening Wednesday. We're going to be at the Paris Baguette on Michigan Avenue from 8:30 to 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Grab a coffee, maybe a muffin. Tell us what's happening in your neighborhood. We hope to see you out there.